So I started off as a graphic designer and I was working for an events company at first in Coventry, which is where I'm from. I was made redundant from there and got a job working for, they were called, I think it was Nationwide Medical Media. And what they used to do, they used to design the graphics for when you went into doctors, and you'd sit in the doctor and it'd tell you, don't forget to have your flu jab. The
Yeah.
graphics of that was what I was working on. And then they started dabbling a bit with websites. I sort of sidelined slightly and skewed into web design, but very much obviously WordPress. I don't think it existed. I'd certainly never heard of it. You had to sit there with a copy of Dreamweaver and sort of code it yourself. So I started doing a bit of that. And so I sort of got my fingers in lots of pies, really, but all very much design and creative. And then one of the directors set up what was probably one of the first ever internet jobs boards. It was called jobsin.co.uk. And I was asked to move when they set it up as a new business. I was asked to move over. And so we'd got this lovely website. We'd got investment, angel investment, I think it was. We got investment anyway. And then it was like, well, this is great. We've got this website, but how do we get people to look at it? So Google didn't exist. And so I kind of took it upon myself to work out how to get people to land on this website, both employers and job seekers. And at the time it was mainly done, I do remember it, because it was all about trying to get in the Yahoo directory, which really was the yellow pages of its time, wasn't it? And I can't even remember how you did it, but there was all these different directory sites, and it was trying to get onto these different directories without having to pay. And then back in the good old days when you used to just scrape sites to get email addresses and spam people. I mean, really, that's what you did. You spammed people, and so it kind of grew from there. It was, and then obviously I like to think I've become slightly more sophisticated in my approach.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You know,
that's where
can
it
I
all
just
started.
say that you've come through the hard way, because obviously you didn't have the luxury of people nowadays can just, YouTube, they can learn lots of stuff, go to lots of conferences. So that's a really tough way to get into digital, but you've kind of learned a lot of stuff along the way.
Yeah, and I think you do learn by. I think we're all different, aren't we, in the way we learn by doing that again. And I mean, nowadays, I'd say most of my learning actually comes from LinkedIn because everything moves so fast. There's like I could go on a conference today and it would be out of date to follow a lot of people and learn an awful lot on LinkedIn because I think I'd still sort of specialize in digital rather than more general marketing. But again, when I started off doing it, and you were downloading the server logs to get your analytics, there was
Mhm.
no real time pages. So it's all just changed so much that it's impossible to keep up and it's impossible to be an expert in every area of digital
Yeah,
now. So I
yeah,
used to do like the paid media, social media didn't
yeah,
really
yeah.
exist. But now I don't do the paid media personally. I know
Mhm.
what we need to do, but I get a specialist in to help with that. So I think it's really difficult now to I don't think you can be a digital expert. I think you need to go more niche.